Mayday, this is Randy Agent, pin down at grid 27 Kilo. We've got multiple movements, too critical. We are taking heavy fire, repeat, heavy fire. Requesting immediate medevac, over.
Ground team agents, this is Charlie DCR2, copy your mayday. Confirm, too critical, location grid 27 Kilo. Under hostile fire, correct?
Affirmative, 2 critical, 1 unstable, bleeding out, repeat, he's bleeding out, hostiles are pressing our position. We need to dust off now.
Acknowledged, Charlie DCR2 is en route, ETA 4 minutes. Keep your beacon active and mark the LZ. Be advised, you will need suppressive cover to complete extraction. Can you hold?
Hello and welcome back to Star Citizen. My name is Evenlease, and today on 10 Minutes More or Less Ship Review, right behind me, the Drake Cutlass Red. Let's go ahead and take a look. Alright, welcome back to another review. Today, the Drake Cutlass Red, which I haven't taken a look at in quite a while, and there have been some changes, of course, to the maneuverability of the ship, as well as medical changes, so let's talk about it. This is a rescue ship. It does have medical beds, and thank you to everybody that joined me today, Cypher1, Zero Grav, What124, and Archangel 8, for having an awesome time doing this review. I really appreciate it. This ship is $135 if you were to buy it on the Pledge Store when it is available. Now, if you were to buy it in-game, which it's available anytime, it's $2,857,680 aUEC. Definitely not a terrible price. It has a claim time of 14 minutes and 59 seconds, or if you were to expedite that, it's 5 minutes overall. Enough time to go get some drinks, some double dogs, and take care of yourself before you're back out there taking care of patients. Now, the pilot does have some firepower, sitting at 2,105 burst damage per second stock due to the two size 3 Mantis GT220s and the two size 3 CF337 Panthers. If you're asking me about the weapons, I would say get rid of the ballistics and just put more Panthers on there so you have a full complement of Panthers, allowing you to just hit everything at the same, round speed, and it does pretty decent damage. The CF337s are still very viable in the current patch. Now, you don't have any missiles on this ship and no additional turret with any sort of firepower on it, basically saying, hey, the pilot has to do the job of protecting the ship, and that's it. There is nothing else to help you. Now, you do have one size 2 shield generator outputting 5,760 bubble shield, which is kind of just okay. I mean, this is a smaller rescue ship, but out of all the other rescue ships available, that's a pretty small shield, especially if you add on top what your health pool looks like. You have a total of 34,520 ship HP. Now that's a total, but let's take a look at the breakdown of critical components. You have a critical component of 6,600 body HP, a critical component of 6,200 canopy, 5,200 on each thruster, and 6,600 on the tail. So what that means is if one of these components hits its critical state, there's a good chance that it will wipe out your craft. If you lose a thruster, there's a good chance your ship is going to spin out of control. It's going to be a lot harder to control as you're going to have an imbalance of thrust. If you lose the canopy, obviously, you're all just dead. But the overall, like, most critical is the body HP. So you have to keep moving. The ship is definitely a lot more fragile than it used to be. Now, you do have a top SCM speed of 212 with a 460 forward boost and a 230 backwards boost with the top nav speed of 1,125. So she's not like dramatically slow, but she's also not going to be winning any races. It's something to keep an eye on because when you're out there trying to pick up patients, you're going to get caught up by light fighters that are absolutely going to be faster than you at all times. So if you see anything in the area that you don't trust, it's always advisable to pack it up and leave immediately. Because as much as you think you're going to be able to defend yourself, this ship is not nearly as maneuverable as it once used to be. You're sitting at a 37, 32, 107 pitch, yaw, roll. It's not good, right? So any sort of maneuverability, directional-wise, handling, it's not going to be good if you're trying to face light fighters, medium fighters, or even heavy fighters, which can outmaneuver you. Which means that with the lack of HP, the lack of shield strength, and the lack of speed on top of it, you're not in a good position if somebody comes after you. Now, this ship does have a total boost maneuverability of 44, 38, 128 pitch yaw roll, which is okay, but your boost ain't going to last forever. Now, you do have 48 flares and 5 decoys. Average across the board, nothing really to help you there because once you're out of those 48 flares, you're just a target for missiles and it's not going to be good. You do have a total of 36 SU of hydrogen fuel and 1.8 SU of quantum fuel, which is okay. This ship does have beds on board. It does have a bathroom on board, surprising for Drake, but it's not meant to actually be out there, you know, staying out in space for 1 to 2 weeks. It's not meant for that. It's a medical ship. Sometimes it will have an overnight stay. Now, otherwise, let's go ahead and take a look at this ship. Starting off at the rear here, this is where you're going to enter the ship. It's the only ground entrance on this ship. You have a rear ramp, which actually can use this gurney here. The gurney goes up with 0 issue, which I will go ahead and show you really quick. I'm going to pull it right on off this ship. Surprisingly, it feels almost easier to get in and out of this ship compared to something like the new Apollo. Because all you got to do is, you would think this would clip here, but it doesn't. It's a very smooth geometry, allowing you to move this bed in and out of the ship with really no issue. Once you have that on board, this is the area that you can go ahead and carry 12 SCU of cargo. So if you have that, gurney there, obviously it's not going to be able to carry that much, but 12 SCU of cargo can fit here, which is pretty nice. And then you do have fuses right here. Now, like I said, this is your only ground entrance, but that doesn't mean it's the only entrance on the ship. So we'll take a look at that next. As you walk through this door here, right here, you got a fire extinguisher, and then you make your way through. Right over here, you have your medical bed on the right and your medical bed on the left. So when you're taking a look at these medical beds, they are tier 3 and can only heal tier 3 injuries, and you can respawn on them. Now, once you heal a tier 3 injury, it does take away some med gel, which is typically only 5 med gel per use. But when that happens, you only have 200 med gel, right? So that's 2 respawns. But now that you've used 5 med gel, you have to refill it if you still want to have those 2 respawns, or you'll only have 1 respawn and 95 med gel left. As you can see there, the medical assistant went ahead and refilled that med gel. It should be back up to 200 now, as the canisters do have a total of 200 med gel per. So once that is in there, you can definitely spawn on here 2 times. And you'll be able to tell how much med gel you have by looking at the top of the screen. It tells you right there. It's pretty awesome. Now, these beds have a 50-kilometer distance. So that means that if you die and you're at 51 kilometers away from your ship, you're not going to be respawning here. You're going to respawn at your last location, probably a station or a home location. But if you're within that 50-kilometer distance, you will be spawning in one of these beds. So let's take a look here at this image of Daymar. This 50-kilometer distance is basically an area of operation distance, right? So if you're at like a Hathor line of mine, you could drop this ship right in the middle of it, and anybody that typically dies in that 50 kilometer distance is going to be able to respawn. It's not like a tier 2 or a tier 1. The tier 2 and the tier 1 can do a lot bigger distance, but the tier 3 is limited to basically an area of operation, and that is it. Now, there are 2 of these tier 3 beds on here allowing that, But again, overall, there's only 4 respawns with the stock amount. So you will have to carry a med gel canister if you want to do more than that. But once you're in this room, you do have 2 beds sitting here as well. That's for your crew, your nurses, your doctors, whatever you have on board. And then you do have 2 of these airlocks right here, one on each side, allowing an EVA entrance and exit, or allowing you to dock to a station or another ship once that, ability and feature is there. Once you walk through the next door is where your crew is going to maintain themselves. You have 2 storage lockers, one here and one here, allowing you to store whatever you need. You do have a weapons locker over here with 4 rifles, and you do have another relay station. So more relays, gotta love that. This is a Drake ship that actually has a bathroom, so that is where the turret position is, which is what I think they should do with all Drake ships. Just put a bathroom in here just like this and make the turret on top remote. And then you have a fire extinguisher. It's pretty nice. And you have 2 beds, more for the crew, as well as an engineering terminal. So when engineering comes into play, it is here and ready to go. And then we're going to go ahead and take a look at the cockpit right on over here. Now, the pilot does have control over the emergency lights, as well as the main headlights. And the co-pilot has control over the spotlight that you see in some of the scenes throughout this video. Now, when you get into the pilot seat, you're going to see that your view is your typical Drake Cutlass fashion view. You're going to have some struts in the way, these big old A-pillars, one here, and you have yourself, 3 MFDs, 1, 2, 3, and then a radar screen. Once again, on that radar screen, just like in my basics, tips, and tricks on the introduction to the cockpit, go ahead and scroll wheel to go ahead and change your distance on that so you can see targets from further out. Pretty nice. And then you have your MFDs where you can go ahead and set your stats for the ship. It's a pretty nice ship. It's got pretty nice visibility. I mean, these A-pillars are obviously very annoying, but they're manageable. And you got a nice little fan right there. That's pretty cool. Gotta love that. So overall, this is the Drake Cutlass Red. It's a decent, medium-sized medical ship with size 3 beds, allowing you to hear tier 3 injuries, allowing you a respawn distance of 50 kilometers. It'll do the job. It really will do the job in an area of operation, and its price point is pretty decent for that. Overall, for its class, for what it can do, and for its maneuverability and damage output, even though it's not meant to really output damage, it's more or less supposed to, heal people, I would give this ship a 90 out of 100. And I do say a 90 out of 100 because in its class and what it's supposed to do, it's not going to be like the best at doing anything medical. It's not going to be the worst at doing anything medical. It's not going to be the best at combat. It's not going to be the worst at combat. It actually is able to do quite a bit and quite a bit well. If I were to have a medical ship at a very decent price point outside of the Pisces, this would be it right here, because the Trauma Turtle is a very expensive ship compared. The Apollo, also very expensive. If you're looking for a pledge price or an in-game price, this is a great starting point. Let me know what you think of the Drake Cutlass Red down in the comments below. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being here. I really do appreciate every one of you. And, of course, I'll see you all in the next one.